There are several ways to lower the insurance cost in Michigan. You've been seeing the prices kind of incrementally go up over the last several years, and it may be to the point to where you feel or think that the policy is way more expensive than what it should be. Today we're going to go over the 4 ways to lower your home insurance. And if you stay till the end, I'm actually going to give you a couple extra pointers that might actually get you that extra edge. Yes, we know that the home insurance prices have been climbing, and the main reason that you're seeing that is because of the inflation, right? That's kind of sort of part of it. What that means is, yes, inflation is kicking in where the cost of lumber has gone way up. It's fluctuating like gas prices. It's going up and then it's coming down and it's going up and it's coming down. The other part is having the right labor costs has drastically changed. Getting the right employees to do the right job, to work on your home, that it's safe and legal and all the codes are up to date. All of those things that weren't as big of an issue because there wasn't as much of a demand versus what there is today. A lot of people have left Michigan, unfortunately. This was back from the COVID days from 2020. And what happened was the work wasn't there. People weren't able to get the jobs that they wanted. And a lot of good workers have left and gone to different states. Now, most of them have come back, and we do have a kind of a large amount of workers now to where we are getting people coming back, but it's not to the level that it used to be. Having the right person, paying the right amount, the skilled labor, all of that type of stuff has raised as far as the cost of doing the work on your home. The first way that you can lower the cost of your insurance is to have any type of a safety security system in your home. Having an internal one versus an external one. And what I mean by that is having an alarm system or a warning system for carbon monoxide, having the smoke detectors. They have the standard one, which is an alarm. It beeps and goes off. If you've ever heard the beeping noises in the background on a phone call, because no one changed the batteries and it's time to change them. That is a little bit of a discount that you can get on your home policy, but having one that's called a central system is what everybody's looking for. It can notify the fire department if there is an actual claim. That also goes for having a smart water backup. And what I mean by that is not so much water backing up as far as the endorsement that we talk about. It's more so in the line of your main pipe. You can purchase a smart device that will shut your water off if it notices a drop in pressure, if it notices there's leaks happening. That main line can just stop. That way there is no future water damage and it prevents any of that from happening. Now, those are few and far between. Yes, the fire system and the alarm system and all of that deters theft and deters large fire claims, but they don't make a huge discount. Where you're going to see the biggest impact is the second piece. Knowing what deductible you carry and should carry makes a huge difference. Now, before we go into deductibles, you got to be careful because if you aren't aware of what coverages you have in the first place, you may not be covered correctly at all. That's why knowing what coverages you have first and then determining a deductible that fits the budget makes a huge difference. I'd rather have you have all the coverages you should have in a large deductible for affordability versus lowering all the coverages that you might need and then having a weird deductible to where it is affordable, but now if you have a major claim, you're the one that loses out during that process. By the way, if you are shopping for home insurance or you're new to Michigan, if you are looking for a home, looking for a realtor, looking for a mortgage broker, any of those situations, I'll put a link in the description below because if your realtor and your broker and your real estate agent aren't working in tandem, you are missing out on kind of the easy process of having everything almost seamless for you when you're doing that option. Links in the description below, but if you know that your coverages are correct, you've got the right liability limits, you've got the right coverage A, which is your dwelling, you've got the right out structures, and you've got all the endorsements that you need, we'll link a video at the end that goes over those. But once you have that, if the price isn't where it needs to be, and when we say needs to be, think of the average. So the average cost of a house policy in Michigan is around $1,400 to $1,500. Now that means it ranges from $25 all the way down to $600. And it can be different depending on the material and all that of your house. But knowing that, having the right deductible can play a factor. There's 2 things that you got to look at. The first one is your all perils deductible. That's essentially all perils, any situation that is covered under your home policy. That's the most common and the least likely to have happen. It's a fire, it's vandalism, it's theft, it's anything that would happen sudden incidentally to the home. The second piece is called the wind and hail deductible. That's the most common one because it's normally covered when the outside of the house is being attacked from wind or hail. Shingles fall off the roof, a tree falls on the home. This is usually because wind has pushed it over or hail has damaged the roof. Be very careful, because there are a lot of companies in the neighborhood that will stop by your house. Not to say that they're bad companies, but more often than not, they're trying to get you to file claims. And one of the things that you've got to be careful with that will raise the cost of your house insurance is following that advice without getting a second or third party opinion. If you're working with a specific agent, go to that agent. They usually have companies that they recommend to work with. Obviously, yes, I know you don't necessarily trust the insurance company. That's kind of a common, right? They're going to get us. But if you just call the insurance company and file a claim and have an adjuster come out, that could initially start a claim that shouldn't have been in the first place. That's why having the right agent that can recommend or refer people that are in your area, that'll be beneficial for you to get that second opinion. If not, just go to Google. You can find it. The agent doesn't necessarily care so much about that part. They just want to make sure that you don't have a claim against you that could potentially come back to you where you have to out-pocket that entire bill. Well, what deductibles should I carry? Well, the common for all perils is a $1,000 deductible. Some people go lower, but honestly, if you're going to file a claim for lower than $1,000, 9 times out of 10, it's not worth it, because now your house price will go up on the renewal. You're going to have an increase in cost because of that scenario. Well, why would I do that? Why would that happen? Think of your house. It's not like car insurance. Car insurance has persons that are at fault, either at fault, not at fault, hail damage, vandalism, things like that. Typically, the not at fault sections in most states, specifically Michigan, doesn't necessarily hurt you to a point. There's things that you'll have to watch in our channel that go over that. But if you have that scenario in car accidents, that's not against you. But the home, 9 times out of 10, there's nobody to go after. There's no one that is at fault. So when you're filing a claim, you're filing a claim against your house insurance. When you're filing something against, you're collecting the $10, $20, $50, $80,000 that it is to repair that, right? They paid that $80,000 out of pocket, whatever that coverage was, and you pay your deductible. You pay $1,000 of that. Well, guess what? When it renews, because you've claimed it against your home, now you're going to have a rate increase because of that. So be a little bit careful in that scenario. Obviously, talk to your agent and get the advice that they would give you. It determines on whether or not it's a good fit to file or not file a claim. The deductible for the $1,000 is common. When you go lower than that, once again, it doesn't really change the price drastically. So filing or not filing a claim, it's really on the person that prefers to have that coverage. A lot of people will do a $1,500 or even a $2,500 deductible on all perils. But to be honest with you, that doesn't make a huge difference in cost. You'll notice that the bigger impact you're going to see is the wind and hail, because the risk is higher for wind and hail. So if you have a brand new roof and you're not as concerned, or you have a newer roof and it's a stronger one, maybe it's a metal roof, or maybe you've had it replaced in the last 5 years, maybe you're willing to take that extra risk and say, well, I'll pay $2,500 or I'll pay a 2% deductible against that roof if something were to happen. Keep in mind, I know I'm mentioning roofs, but this counts for the siding. Anything that wind or hail damages on the property is a wind and hail deductible. If that case happens and you have a $400,000 house, you have a 2% deductible, your portion is $8,000. Now, it sounds like a lot, but the impact that you're going to see on the year-to-year or the month-to-month cost of the insurance is going to be a lot larger, because you're pulling some of that risk in-house to where you're willing to pay part of that scenario. The third way to get the best price on your home insurance is to bundle your home and auto. I get it. Everybody under the sun says bundle, bundle, bundle. That's not always the case, but in most cases, it does help. When I quote somebody and I have home and auto, I can see a 20, sometimes even a larger % discount to just have them together. Nothing to do with whether the auto's good or the home's good or whatever that case is. 9 times out of 10, just having the two together under one roof is less expensive. If you have the right company, sometimes they even give you some extra quirks or benefits to where you don't have to pay extra deductibles if there was a multiple claim. That means essentially, let's say there was a fire and your cars were in the garage. The cars got damaged, the house got damages, and normally you would pay each deductible because they're separate policies. Some companies will let you combine those so that you only pay the one deductible and not have to out-pocket more than that. Either way, you're probably talking hundreds of thousands of dollars, so I think you're going to be happy that's covered as long as it was covered correctly. And the fourth way, without going into the bonuses, is to shop around. I get that. If you look anywhere online, they're all going to tell you to shop. Be careful at which companies you're talking about, because a lot of these online places will tell you, shop here, shop here, shop here. They just want to get you so they can sell the information. If you are above that larger amount and you don't have extraordinary coverages on your home, is having extra crown molding, extra jacuzzi tubs, you got French doors, you got bay windows. If that's the case and you're in just a typical home and you're paying more than that $1,500 per year, you're probably overpaying. Now, I haven't looked at your home, so I can't tell you that exactly. Clearly, the agent that you work with, or if you're doing a quote with us at the links below, that will tell you, help you determine what the replacement cost is. And that's that bonus piece that we're talking about. Every year or every few years, remember those prices fluctuate? Well, so does that replacement cost estimate. That's essentially how much it would cost to pull all the material away from your house. 9 times out of 10, leave the foundation because that's usually the same. Sometimes you can rework it and remove the foundation if need be. We've had a few claims where they've been total losses where they've allowed that. And if that case is the case, they're going to rebuild that. So based on today's cost of materials, they could have gone up or down, and you could pay less or more or have enough coverage or not enough based on that replacement cost estimate. The thing is, each company does them differently. So yes, there are standards and yes, there's costs, but for some reason you're going to find that insurance companies all have different replacement costs. If I put you with company A, they might say your house is worth $320 to rebuild. But if I put you with company B, they might be a little bit more tight on what they're looking at, and they might say it's $450,000 to rebuild that same exact house. There's not a right or a wrong way. Obviously, the agent's going to shop between those two and find out the benefits. There's additional coverages you can add even if you go with the lower one in case it's not enough to have those extra pieces. The last bonus tip is to look at the endorsements that are on your policy. Typically, a home policy will come packaged as one unit. Sometimes those units by default have checked have checked a box that has added additional a la carte pieces. Commonly, we add water backup on all our quotes because it's a big, huge incident that a lot of people don't understand is or isn't covered. A lot of times you might add identity theft. You might add all of these different endorsements onto that policy, which you may not need. So work with your agent to find out if there are extra endorsements that have been added that you don't feel are beneficial to you. To learn more about those endorsements, I'm going to link a video here that will go in depth on the different types of endorsements or the most common ones. If you want to learn more about the Ultimate Home 101 Guide and want to learn the coverages, I'll link our Ultimate 101 Home Insurance Guide there. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. Otherwise, I'm Mark with Valor Insurance. We'll see you soon.